Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? Today is Friday. Thank God it's Friday, and I can't believe that Christmas weekend is coming here. I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday, and it's been a very long 2012, but you know something, we made it another year, and I'm glad that 2013 has come because I can't wait to start a whole new year. But it's been a lot of fun being on YouTube, and I can't wait to do another 2013 with everybody. So I just wanted to say happy holidays to everyone who's celebrating, and I hope that everybody has a safe and joyous holiday season. Today we're going to be talking about the most anticipated ending that just passed, which was Dexter Season 7. And I have to tell you, I know this is going to be a spoiler alert, so if you don't want to hear what's going to be talked about, then I suggest that you turn this video off and tell yourself, you know what, I don't want to hear anything until I see the whole show. So if you don't want to hear it, this is the time to tear it off. So I'm sorry, we're going to dive right into it. What happened was that during Dexter, the whole season of season 7 was kind of interesting because this was a season where Deborah has found out that Dexter is the Bay Harbor Butcher and basically has a dark passenger. In the season finale, which was probably, in my personal opinion, one of the best endings I've seen in a while, it wasn't really a great season, but it was a great season finale. And what happened basically was that Maria, Maria LaGuerta, basically was on to Dexter Morgan, and she believed, and her instincts were right, that Dexter was the Bay Harbor Butcher, and basically Dokes was set up to be the Bay Harbor Butcher, but it was actually Dexter who was the Bay Harbor Butcher, and she basically wanted to take revenge for Dokes, who had died in season 2 of Dexter. So what happened was that basically Dexter wanted to kind of frame her at first, but because she had so much information on Dexter that was going to lead to an arrest with a search warrant, because the link between Dexter and Deborah at the gas station at the time frame puts Dexter at the scene where he killed Travis Marshall for killing the Doomsday Killer. Now, what surprised me about that whole season finale was very quite simple. Was the very last 5 minutes of that episode where Deborah had found Dexter in the same place where his mother was killed, and basically with the chainsaw, and there was Officer LaGuerta, and basically it was like the moment of truth. Basically Dexter, I think, was at that point where he was going to kill an innocent. This was probably the first time in the whole entire seasons of Dexter that he decided to finally take out an innocent. He had never thought about doing it until now, when he felt like he was about to get caught. Now, the thing that was interesting about this particular episode was the way that Deborah handled the situation. Basically, the shocking conclusion was that Deborah killed Officer LaGuerta and basically saved Dexter's life. And now the big question that was asked by Dexter was, is this the beginning of their relationship or the beginning of the end of their relationship? And this was probably the most interesting and most pivotal point, because I think we're getting closer to Dexter coming to an end. And you know something? I still say it was still one of the best endings I've seen in a long time, where Deborah basically shot Officer LaGuerta to help Dexter with his plot to make it look like that LaGuerta was set up and that she was killed by somebody else, but it was basically Dexter and Deborah who basically were doing this heinous and fucked up crime. Now, a lot of interesting things happened at the end of that episode. We find out that Hannah escaped. We find out that Dexter is basically at his worst moment ever, which is now his sister is involved. And how much of a role will she have in this Bay Harbor butcher world? And more importantly, will Deborah, and this is the question I wanted to ask all of you. Do you feel that Dexter and Deborah should get the death penalty for what they are doing in their crime spree? Because if you really think about it, now Deborah is involved using her position of power to basically take advantage and kill the criminals who escape justice. But the question now is, did Dexter break the code by killing an innocent? And the answer is not really, because you know something, I don't really think it was him who killed him, but it was more like Deborah got so caught up in Dexter's world that she loves him so much that she killed LaGuerta basically to save his life and going to jail or facing the possibility of a death penalty charge. You know something, this is going to be very interesting to see how this show comes to an end. I personally believe, in my personal opinion, I do believe that Deborah should get the death penalty, because I really think it was fucked up. Like, everybody was so convinced that Deborah was Dexter's morality. She was kind of like the person who basically will fix the right and the wrongs, and everybody was shocked that Deborah went this way. She basically killed someone that she's known for quite some time, and you know something, Maria basically, was basically killed, and it was basically murder. It wasn't like, like LaGuerta went crazy and she attacked Dexter and Deborah. This was cold-blooded murder, and this was the worst that Deborah has ever done. And the question now is, will she ever be the same after LaGuerta has died? The answer is no. I think that in some bizarre way there's going to be a problem where, does Dexter, like I said before, should Dexter take Deborah out for finding out about his Bay Harbor butcher and dark passenger world that she's involved in? Because to tell you the truth, you know what it is? It's like what Harry's code has always been. If you know you're about to get caught, Dexter's gonna run. But the question now is, does Dexter, now Dexter has a new problem, which is now Deborah has committed murder. And the question is, how does he handle the fact that basically Deborah has killed someone that basically, I guess they were like friends. I mean, they were more like co-workers, but the fact is that Deborah's a murderer now. Dexter has went to a whole new low. Hannah is out in the street and they don't know where she is, so we don't know what Hannah's gonna do, because right now she's pissed off because Dexter sold her out. And the question is, will she take revenge and kill Deborah to get to Dexter, or kill them both? There's a lot of interesting ways this story can go, but we definitely know that Hannah, I personally believe, will be in the next story. But the question is, where does she fit in the next story? Will she be a primary target and try to kill Dexter for season 8, or will she be a surprise ending for season 8? We don't really know. All we know is that Deborah has done the unthinkable, and I don't think she can ever forgive herself. I think that everybody who will be involved in this case is going to go hardcore to try to find out who killed Maria. But the problem is, the person who killed Maria is a lieutenant in their division. So it's going to be interesting how Dexter will help her cover this crime up. I mean, I think, Dexter's plan would have worked, but the problem was that Dexter was so selfish. It's almost like this season he was kind of like a person who act like, well, I can handle everything and I can do everything. But to be honest, Dexter was fucking up. I mean, something, if Dexter knew he was gonna fuck up all this season, Why didn't he even involve Deborah? Why not just say, you know what, I'll run, and then not let Deborah go through the pain that I'm going through? I mean, I understand what Dexter was trying to do. He was trying to fix the problem by saying, hey, look, you know what, I'm not gonna let my sister take the fall for my crime in my past. But part of the problem is that he's involved Deborah so much that at the end of the day, you don't really know how this relationship between Dexter and Deborah is going to be. Will Deborah be his new problem? Because now the worry is that, okay, Hannah is in the street and she's out for bitter revenge. Deborah will probably get a guilt trip, and the question is, will she continue to cover up for Dexter? And if it gets close to where Dexter might get caught, will she start killing members of the police division? I mean, there has to be a line that's drawn. I mean, Dexter just can't say, well, hey, look, you know what? As long as I continue to be the Bay Harbor Butcher and I have a dark passenger, I can't stop myself. So the question was that should Deborah had shot Dexter to end his world of suffering? And the thing was that I think that she should have killed him, because at least, you could say, okay, you know what? I don't have to run. Harrison will be living with his grandparents, or Deborah will take over. And then yet I understand why she killed LaGuerta, because at the same time, she would have been Deborah would have been fired, would have been arrested, would have probably been on police charges on the felony portion, and then at the end of the day, you killed someone you love to protect someone who didn't care about you but her career. So, there's a lot of, fucked up things that are going on in this season finale, but I have to say, it wasn't, if I'm not going to say this was the best season I've ever seen. I know a lot of people will say it was very disappointing, and I do admit it was just like a very slow, it wasn't the greatest season, sorry, but there were certain moments in that show that really picked up and I really enjoyed. But for the most part, I will have to say that, season 7 was okay. I mean, I don't think that no season will ever be better than season 4, because everybody says that season 4 was the greatest. But you know something? This was kind of interesting because it shows that Dexter's world has now become unbalanced. Now this whole Bay Harbor Butcher thing has to have some kind of conclusion, and I think even knows that. Maybe Dexter has to run, or maybe Dexter has to consider the fact that now that he's involved Deborah, how is he going to fix this problem? There's a lot of new problems in hand with this, but I have to tell you, for the most part, great ending. Just wasn't really a great season. So I'm not going to say that this was the greatest season of all time, but it was definitely one of the better endings of all time. And the flashbacks where you see Dokes in, excuse me, because this will be my final comment. The flashbacks that you see where Dexter's talking to Dokes, it's just basically the idea that Dokes, the whole time, as we all knew, that Dokes knew that there was something wrong with Dexter. He couldn't quite pin it, but he definitely knew, as a detective and someone who is skilled in catching criminals, he definitely believed that, something, there was something wrong with Dexter, and then maybe we need to keep an eye on him for the future. So it was rather interesting how they incorporated, Dokes' world, and then basically the connection between Maria and Dokes, and the idea that Maria kind of agreed with Dokes that, there was something wrong with Dexter. Just he was so good at basically pretending to have feelings he didn't really have. So, for the most part, I thought it was an A plus ending, just wasn't an A plus season. So I'm gonna be fair on that. It's okay. It's something that, if you want to download or bootleg or get it off DVR or whatever, or some, TiVo or some shit, just do it that way. I wouldn't necessarily spend $40-$50 on a show that you can save getting it bootleg or downloading it off the internet. So, like I said, hit me up with your comments. Tell me what you think. Do you think that Deborah should get the death penalty for what she's done? Do you think that the relationship between Dexter will change? Do you have any, opinions about what you think about this particular season? And what do you think will happen for season 8? Hit me up with your opinions. Let me know. As always, I hope that everybody has a great holiday season. Take care of yourself. And again, Merry Christmas.